What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down something that all quarterbacks need to stop doing with their throwing motion. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you're a quarterback and you would like to get better at reading defenses, check out that very first link in the description below where you could get access to 500 plus different videos, all based on how to read defenses. We break down coverages just like this. We talk about the weaknesses of each coverage, how each coverage works, and then we organize each specific video into playlists like man coverage, cover 2, cover 3, etc. So it's easy to gain access to and easy to retain the info. So if you guys would like some more information on that, check out that very first link in the description below if you want to improve your football IQ. Let's get started with this video. So one of the most common mistakes that quarterbacks will make, I'm going to show you guys, honestly, a couple bad examples of this quarterback here. This is a random quarterback. I found these clips on Twitter, but I think it's good because so many quarterbacks have this exact same problem. And then I'm going to compare him with Joe Burrow and his mechanics and how Joe Burrow is efficiently able to generate power. He doesn't have this overstride or this back leg push that I want to talk about today. So we're looking at this quarterback's first throw here, and you could obviously tell that he has a little bit of a longer motion, right? So when he goes to throw this thing, it takes a while for his front foot to get down. It takes a while for the ball to get out of his hands, and all that can be cured if he stops pushing off of his back foot. So a lot of old school quarterback coaches used to teach this, and especially now because so many people are so heavily based on rotation, I think if your quarterback coach is teaching this, this is honestly flat out lazy, and I'm going to explain why. So whenever you guys are going to throw and you're in a base, right? Back foot is located under your shoulder. You got maybe about 60 to 65% of your weight on your back leg. Everybody knows that a lot of quarterbacks' power comes from their legs, but it's not so much about the leg drive and the hip drive. It's about the timing of the leg drive and the hip drive. So whenever you're in this base, fellas, and you start to push off of this middle arch of your foot, a lot of quarterback coaches used to say, hey, push off that middle arch of your foot. That's where you generate your power. You see how when he pushes, not only does it take a while for the front stride to get down, where does all of his body weight go? All of his body weight shifts to the front side. He's pushing all of his weight forward before that front foot is even down. So guys, when you have this base where your feet are inside of your shoulder frame, because I think all quarterbacks know you don't want to stand with this, like let's say this is a quarterback here, you don't want to stand with this really wide base, because when you have a really wide base like this, you can't rotate with your hips to begin with. But when we push off of that back foot to create the stride, that is going to bring that long step. Your feet are wide, and again, we will not be able to rotate with my hips. So let's say, for example, you don't take a long stride, but you're still pushing off the back foot. Let's say you take a quick step. Guys, when all of your body weight shifts forward, that prevents something called hip and shoulder dissociation. You guys want to get to a position when you go back with the football, that football, when it's here, should have body weight going back this way. You should have weight loaded onto your back leg. You guys could all try this right now, because hip and shoulder dissociation, the way quarterbacks generate power, is all based on like the principles of a baseball swing. Right? So you have a bat loaded back here. You take a step to the pitcher, but you keep the baseball bat back. You keep some weight on your back leg when you step to the pitcher, because you don't want the bat in a baseball swing to come through the same time you're pivoting your back foot and the same time your hips are coming through. If you take a step to the pitcher and the bat comes through at the same time, you're going to have no power on the ball. You keep the bat back here and you let the hips bring the bat through. Guys, it's the same principles when throwing a football. Now, when you take a step again to the pitcher, you don't have all your body weight go forward. You don't shoot the hands through with the bat. We should never do that as a quarterback either. Guys, when you go to throw, this front stride is separate from the back leg drive. We do not want to generate something called linear force, where you're pushing at the target. We want to generate something called rotational force. And I can't get rotational force, and I can't get proper hip rotation without my front foot being in the ground. So when you guys are set up to throw, guys, we should be thinking, how quickly can I step into the ground while maintaining weight on my back leg? You don't want to think push for the stride. You want to think stride down and then rotate, then drive. Stride, then drive, not drive to create the stride. And so many quarterbacks have this problem, you guys. But not only will it lengthen the stride, not only will it cause you to have this really wide base, your body weight goes forward. When that front foot makes contact with the ground, you want to have weight on your back leg. You want your front shoulder to be rotating this way so we could have that baseball swing type torque. work. And I'm going to show you guys what this should look like with this Joe Burrow example. So fellas, make sure we do not push off the back foot. We want to step and rotate. We do not want to push and drive. Now, I want to show this second example here because if you're a quarterback who struggles with this is the type of drill work. And again, I'm not trying to bag on this guy. I'm trying to bag on his quarterback coach. I don't even know who his quarterback coach is. But whoever's having him do these types of drills, do these types of movements where you drop back, roll out, sprint out, shuffle up, all this stuff, and there's no emphasis on his mechanics. Again, another bad habit of pushing, front foot over stride, back leg is wide, weight is coming forward. He should not be doing these types of drills. Guys, if you struggle with mechanical problems, the only way to fix those mechanical problems is by repping it out consistently. You know how many reps it takes to break a bad habit? I'm talking thousands of reps to break a bad habit. So why would you be doing these pointless types of throws when you have habits to break? Now, I understand it. Maybe it's like the middle of August when this was recorded. Maybe it's like the end of July. He's getting ready for practice with his team. So you don't have that kind of time to rep that stuff out. But I think this should have been taken care of way before in the offseason with his trainer, right? So again, I'm not trying to bag on this kid. I'm hoping this kid's watching this so he could see it and understand that you have an issue with the front foot strike. Now, here's the example of Joe Burrow that I was talking about, right? So if you look at Joe Burrow right here compared to the last quarterback before he lets go of the ball, you see they look very, very similar. About 60% on the back leg, 65% on the back leg. His weight is loaded back. Looks exactly like the last quarterback. But I want you to watch the difference of when his front foot makes contact with the grass and where his body weight is. So, and again, this is Joe Burrow with an injury too. This is the first time that he threw after having that calf injury at training camp. But when his front foot makes contact with the ground, is his weight still on the back leg? Abso-freaking-lutely, his weight is still on the back leg. He is not pushing off of the inside arch of his foot. Not even close. His back leg is pretty much straight. His shin is straight. His foot is underneath his armpit. I've been saying this with my quarterbacks a lot. Keep your ear outside of your hip until after your front foot makes contact with the ground. Because when your weight is back, guess what he can do with the football? He can rotate back. He could take the football back with his shoulders, aka that baseball swing. So now when his front foot is down, what should happen? Then he should drive. Your front foot steps down, then the hips should rotate. And you see how his hips, back hip is driving through, front hip is opening up, and the ball is trailing behind his hips. Guys, that's how you generate power. This is efficient power. This is consistent power, and that is how you take pressure off the shoulder and pressure off of the elbow. Guys, you have to understand if Burrow were to be here and his goal was to push off of this middle arch, even if he takes a short stride and his body weight shifts forward, he can't get to that backstroke position. How quarterbacks generate power is all based on the throwing sequence, right? Your throwing sequence is 4 parts. You obviously need the base, you need a short stride, but when the stride happens, your shoulders got to stay back. Because the next part of the hip sequence, or the next part of the throwing sequence, is the hip rotation. So it's base, stride, hips. But notice how hips have to come through before the shoulders and the ball. So if you guys go to throw and you push all of your body weight forward, you physically can't rotate your shoulders back enough to have the right throwing sequence. Your shoulders are going to come through before the back hip will, the leg will extend, everything will trail behind you, and that's a big decrease in velocity. And that's a lot more pressure on your arm. Again, let's go back to the first example here for a second. Let's go back to it. Watch the difference here. You see how when that front foot makes contact with the ground, what's his back leg doing? Fully extended. And again, watch when his shoulders come through in this throw. You see how his elbow and his shoulder are both ahead of his back hip. And again, I'm not trying to put this kid on blast. I'm just trying to explain to you guys that that back leg push is never a good idea. Even if it's a short stride, you guys, all it is it's shifting your weight off of the right platform. It's flawing your throwing sequence, and that's putting way more stress on your arm. You never want your body to be ahead of your back hip and your back foot. You want your back hip, your back knee, your back foot to all be ahead of the shoulders, and that's going to come from you not pushing. So remember, again, I'm going to play this Burrow throw one more time full speed. So remember, we stride first, then we drive. We get that front foot, again, weight loaded back to start. We stride first. Weight stays back on the foot strike. Shoulders go back. We're loaded. Baseball swing. Hip brings the baseball bat through, aka the ball, and we could finish generating efficient power, pressure off the arm, and we'll be a much more consistent overall quarterback. So guys, we have to stop getting in that habit of pushing. We are rotational athletes. We are not linear athletes as quarterbacks. We are not baseball pitchers. We are baseball hitters, and we generate power exactly the same way. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like 500 plus videos, all based on how quarterbacks can read defenses, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that type of content. Again, over 500 clips, 3 to 5 minute videos breaking down football IQ. So again, very first link in that description. I'll see you guys next time.